Hello, everyone. We're going to get started. My name is Don Dodge. I'm a developer advocate at Google. And I've done this session many times in different countries, and it's always interesting to see what kinds of companies and what kinds of ideas you have. So we're going to have a discussion here. I have a panel to answer some questions. I'll start with a few questions myself, and then we have microphones so that you can ask questions of the audience. So I'll start with a few. How many of you do not speak Czech? Okay, then we should probably do English. We were talking about going Czech and just all the answers in Czech, but I think we'll do English. Okay, how many of you want to start a company? Okay, good. Well, you came to the right place. How many of you work at a startup now or a small company now? Raise your hands. Good, good. That's a pretty high percentage. How many of you have stock options or equity in the company that you work in? Yeah. See it. Oh, some more over here.
More.
Yeah, that's good. Last question. How many of you have worked for the same company for 5 years or more? Raise your hand. Good, good. Okay, so this is a very entrepreneurial audience here. A lot of you are working at startups or haven't worked at a company too long. It's interesting because when I ask those very same questions in other countries, it's very different answers. Like Germany and France, they're much more conservative. They don't like to work at startups. They want to work at big companies. They don't like to take risks. So they aren't as entrepreneurial as you are. So that's great. Good to know. All right, let's start with our panel and introduce yourself and a little bit about what you do.
Okay.
Yes?
So, my name is Michael Rostock. I'm an early stage investor, among other things, in IT. I'm invested in an IT security company. I'm actively looking at open source companies, sort of catching the new wave or next wave.
My name is Vít Vrba. I'm an internet entrepreneur. I founded my first company in 1998, and my current most successful project is webnode.com that actually has more than 4 million registered users and receives more than 25 million unique visitors monthly.
Okay, I'm Lucas. I founded 2 companies in the past. I'm not going to talk about them because it's a long story. Then I used to work for Skype as a developer for 2.5 years. And I developed a Skype to Go product, if you know, or first Facebook integrations there. And now I'm running a startup yard, which is a startup accelerator program here in Prague.
Okay. So I'll ask a few more questions, and then I'm going to be looking to you. Come into the middle here or raise your hand, and then you can ask your questions. Let's start with you. When you look for investments, what is the most important thing that you look for? Is it the product, the technology, the team, market size? What's most important to you?
Probably 2 things. One is the team. I'm very afraid to invest into one-man shows. For me, the strength of the team is one of the key things. On the strength of the team and the quality, usually you can also have a look at the product, if it's in beta version already. So I think it's team and product. Everything else is sort of secondary. But these are the questions I ask myself and everybody else involved in the first 5 minutes of the discussion. Who's your team or who's on your team and what product have you got?
Mm-hmm. And when you started your companies, were you single founders or did you have co-founders?
Sorry.
Go on.
I'm a single owner at the moment. I had partners and I had to part the ways with them.
So I wouldn't invest in you.
You want to give me a call.
How about you?
Okay, my story started in 1998. During my studies at university, I founded a company. I was a sole proprietor. So I was alone at the beginning. Then I started programming. Then I was able to get bigger business, so I hired more people, and the company, the real company, started. I think that there is a big difference between the product, company, and team. And if you want to have successful startup, you have to meet all these items together in the right time.
Mm-hmm.
So, and for me, the most important thing on startup is the team, people. And these people have to do what do they like. The most important, what do they like?
Mm-hmm. Lucas, how about you?
I think it's really important to have a partner in a startup because it's just, you can talk with the partner all the time. You have someone with whom you can consult things. It's really important in an early stage. When we were picking startups for Accelerator, I've been basically evaluating the 50% goes to a team. Like, if those people understand each other, if they're well aligned, how long they are working together. Then another 25% goes to their track record. If they have done anything in the past, if they failed. For example, for me, it's very valuable to know if someone failed. And the rest, 25%, goes to idea. Because I believe if the idea can, you can come up with the different ideas over the time. Even in a program, you can pivot or change the idea completely. But if you have a really good team, it's not that hard.
That's interesting because Y Combinator and Techstars will not take one-person companies. They require that you have at least 2 founders, and sometimes 3. When you look at the successful startup companies, the most successful ones have at least 2 founders. Yep. So Bill Gates and Paul Allen at Microsoft, Larry Page and Sergey Brin at Google. It goes on and on. They're usually 2. And Mark Zuckerberg has 2 other co-founders that helped him start the company. So you should have at least 1 other founder and maybe 2 before you start a company. What kind of progress do you need to see before you'll invest? Like, can they have a business plan and an idea? Or do they need to have a beta of the product working? Or do they need to have users? What do you want to see before you invest?
I need to see the traction, whatever it is, and it must be measurable. So be it in the number of customers, number of users. I don't really need to see the revenues and profits as long as I see there is a growth. So in this respect, as long as it's measurable and it's doubling, tripling, quadrupling, I'm listening. If it's not quadrupling, I'm hanging up.
If it's not what?
If it's not growing fast, then I'm usually hanging up.
Yeah. Okay. And when you go for funding for your companies, what do you try to do? Like in Silicon Valley, you wait as long as possible before raising money, right? You want to make as much progress as you possibly can before you ask for money, because the more progress you have, the higher the valuation is going to be. So what kinds of decisions do you make about when to go look for money?
From my standpoint, the key difference is that everything takes 2 or 3 times longer than in States. So if you want to do fundraising, you should start actually at the beginning of the business, because it will take 3 times longer than it takes in States or in Germany. So the smart move is to essentially speak with the investors as soon as you think you might be ready, because they are more cautious and more conservative.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what I would say from entrepreneur side is think. Think if you really need VC. Think if you need money. Think if you need only money or if you need smart money. Yep. If you need only money, it means that you have your product finished, your team is perfect, you have revenue stream, and you are just solving some new marketing approach that would help, or the investment would help you with this approach. On the other side, if you are at the beginning and you are looking for smart money, it means that you are looking for advice or for someone who can help with your business growth, who can help you with the business or who can help you with the technology. So again, for me, it's very important to deal with investors that I like, and we have the same view of things, not only business, it's very personal. If you take someone inside in your company, you will live with this person. It's like marriage. So you have to be on the same wave. And at the beginning, it's like normal relationship. Everything is nice. But you have to think what will happen when you will have to survive not only during sunny days, but also with, or in some rain. So everything is about people.
In Silicon Valley, we say you can divorce your spouse, you can't divorce your investor. They're there forever. Yep. So when you make a deal to take money from an investor, make sure that you can work with them and that they add value and that you have shared vision. Because if you don't, you're in trouble. Let's talk about angels versus VCs. So do you have angel investors in Czech Republic?
I'm one of the angel investors, so there are a couple of people that do it.
How many?
Well, 5, 7. It's good to be, in this exclusive club. It's not a trend, but we can be more choosy and more picky. So in this respect, if you are looking for early stage investor, it's 5 or 7 people you can call. But it's 7 people more than 5 years ago.
It's terrifying, isn't it? Only 6 people in the Republic.
Okay. What is the difference between an angel investor and a venture capital investor?
If you ask me, I'm slightly less risk averse and slightly faster moving than the VC. And I'm also not that heavy on due diligence. I'm not going to spend months spending on accountants and lawyers to do the due diligence, and I call it actually due negligence. But, so I'm probably faster. Mm-hmm. And flip side is the valuations are lower.
Yeah. Have you dealt with angel investors or VCs when you built your companies?
Well, my story is quite strange. In a normal Silicon Valley value process, because we were able to develop our project from the money the company already had. So we didn't need any investor for the development. I started to look for an investment in 2008 when we launched the product and the business development was growing. And well, it was 2008, Europe, Czech Republic. It was impossible to raise money in States because I would have to move to States together with my whole team. Otherwise, it wasn't possible. Today, it's slightly different. And I think times really changed. And also, US investors are more focused on Europe today, but not the time. So I had a lot of discussion with Czech investors, angel investors, VCs, as well as with some European. And the approach of these people in 2008 was something like, yeah, you have a great product, looks really perfect. Try to become #1 in Czech Republic, and then we will see. And I said, well, our product, our target was always the whole world. We wanted to become #1 in what we do, and the only we have is time to market. And we will lose this time if we will be focused only on Czech Republic. So for me, it was quite a hard time to find someone who would understand our strategy in the time. Today it's completely different, and investors think completely different. They are more focused on projects that are global, not the time, unfortunately.
I have a confession to make. I was one of these investors. It is too shy to mention me personally, but it was probably not only me, but I was one of these that told him, and after he told me what he did, I changed my business model and attitude. So thank you, Vít.
Did you use angel investors or VCs, or did you self-fund?
I myself self-funded.
Okay, Lucas, how about you?
Well, I always bootstrapped.
Bootstrapped, self-funded?
Yeah. Well, it depends on what you're doing. For example, if you are building something that needs a special kind of technology, it's really difficult because you need the money for it. But I would recommend to go as far as you can with your own money, verify, validate everything what you're doing, and once you want to grow, scale up, then it's a time where you actually need the money.
So,
probably, sorry, one more thing that we mentioned, it's important is, as an investor, I'm looking for the gel. We need to really gel with the company. If it's only about the money, it's boring. So one of the things that one should present to the investors is how will you get involved, what's your added value behind money or beyond money, and you really need to gel. It's, you know, it's more than relationship with a wife. It's really not forever, but it's very intensive and the stakes are higher.
right. Okay, so I'm going to look for questions, so raise your hand if you have a question, and someone will bring a mic. In the U.S., we have... Okay, I'll get to you in 1 second. In the U.S., we have like 3 levels of funding. So you have friends and family that do like the first $100,000, and then angels do $100,000 to $1 million, and then venture capital firms do from $1 million up. Is the same kind of structure here, or how do you?
Pretty much so. Yeah, a couple of, you know, hundreds of thousands up or down, but yes, it's more or less the same.
More or less the same.
I would say it's lower, but I would say it's lower a little bit.
Yeah, slightly lower, but
and we have a
not in dollars, but in Czech crowns. They mean.
exactly. And next to friends and family, we have also fools.
Fools, yeah. Well, there's lots of those. We're full of fools in the U.S. Okay, there was a question over here. Where is it? Ah, back there. Okay. Here comes the mic.
Well, hello. My name is Sabol Csabosh, and I'd like to ask about the possibilities of any American venture capitalists or any American money flowing into the Czech Republic, because, and I don't mean no offense, but obviously it doesn't take lots of brains to invest in a company that's quadrupling. I'd be interested in whether or not it's possible to bring American money into the Czech Republic.
Yeah, it's possible.
Thank you.
It's possible, but the path to doing that is normally get investment in the Czech Republic first and get traction, and then the Czech Republic VC or investor will talk to a US investor for you and get a US investor interested. It's highly unlikely that an individual entrepreneur can get venture capital funding by themselves from a US VC. It's normally going to be go up and get VC investment in the Czech Republic, get traction. That Czech Republic VC will talk to a US VC and then pull the money in.
Indeed.
Thanks.
If I can give you an example of Czech companies that received US investment capital, the first and very nice example is Good Data.
What's the name?
Good Data.
Good Data?
It's Tomáš Staněk, you probably know.
Roman.
Roman, sorry. And the second one that was received, I think, a month ago is socialbakers.com project that is led by Jan
German
Žaža.
fund. It's German fund.
And I think partly...
Okay, you need to speak up so that they can hear you.
You know, the story is that why bother, you know, if you live in California, invest in California where everything happens, and, you know, fly over to Prague and, you know, the taxi driver rips you off and then hotel doesn't work and whatever happens. So, you know, but they shouldn't bother. Why should they bother?
Okay, was there a follow-up question? No? Okay. So let's talk about incubators. So Lucas, you've run a incubator and an accelerator. That's all the rage in the US now. Y Combinator and Techstars and Dream IT and Plug and Play. Incubators are really hot. The universities all have an incubator. So what's the situation here? How do the incubators work? How do you get involved?
Well, currently, there's a huge boom running around Europe. You know, everybody has its own incubator or accelerator right now. But only time will show which of the accelerators actually works. I mean, it's just, it seems to me that it's a pretty hot topic because everybody, if you ask guys from a random accelerator, for example, in Germany, if you ask them how many, or if they can name some of the accelerators in the States, they just know 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know the rest. It's just they think it's that easy that you provide just a space and you invite few entrepreneurs and it's just work out. You know, it's just somehow magically happen inside. But actually, it's a lot of work. You need to work with those teams. You need to network them up. You need to find them at deals. It's a really hard work. It doesn't look like that, but it really is. I think the accelerators are going to be a really great option in the future, but it's going to take a half year, maybe a year more, because we need more angel investors to actually invest some money in accelerators. So it's really hard, yeah, but I think the time will come pretty soon.
The accelerators or incubators in the US, money is a very small piece of it. It's usually just a very small amount of money. What you get from an incubator is mentors, so experienced entrepreneurs who have built companies before, who will come and work with you and give you advice and help. Secondly, you get press. So the TechCrunch and all the press will come to Y Combinator Techstars. So you get a lot of visibility early. Third thing is VC investors. So they all have demo days. And at the end of the session, the demo day, all the VCs and angels come and see all the companies at once. And the fourth thing, and maybe the biggest thing, is you get advice and experience from other people who are starting companies. So other people who are in the same situation as you and learning the same things, having the same problems, just that working together in the incubator accelerates everything because you all have the same kinds of challenges and issues. So.
Yeah, I absolutely agree because I can see it in a startup yard that the people, actually those teams they're not 8 separate teams. It's just one huge team building 8 companies. It's amazing to see how it works. They're supporting each other. I think they are doing best mentoring in there, like between themselves.
Yeah. Any other questions out here? Okay, I'll be looking. Okay, good. Okay, hold on, wait for the mic that'll come.
And seeing how it's Google Developer Day, how does Google actually support venture capital? Do you guys actually do venture capital in the Czech Republic or Central Europe?
Google Ventures is 2 years old right now. We're actually in our 3rd year. I work with Google Ventures as an advisor and make investments with the firm. Today, we only invest in the US because it's a very young company. Eventually, we will expand to other countries, but it's going to take some time for that to happen. Google Corporate, I work in developer relations, so we do events like this with technical events and explaining things and helping. We also have the marketplaces, so if you have a product, you can sell it through Google Apps Marketplace or Chrome Web Store or Android Market. So we try to have those markets so that you can sell your products directly to our customers. And then the developer relations group can help you with technical questions, get you early access to technology, and that kind of thing. Last thing we do is we work with Startup Weekend and Seed Camp and Kauffman Foundation, Startup America, all these startup organizations, and Google contributes money to them to help the ecosystem go.
Another point is probably that venture capital is usually very local. Doesn't make sense for a Czech or Polish startup to seek money in States early on. It might make sense later on, but if you are looking for an investor at the beginning, you should go local.
Yeah, I would agree.
99% of the cases.
Okay, any other questions? Oh, here's one over here.
Hello, I would like to ask you, how do I actually start process of searching an investor? Where should I start, and what should I have prepared, and so on? Thanks.
Well, there is Google. You can write angel money in the Google, and the answer would pop up on the screen probably. Second, there is LinkedIn. Again, if you are serious about making business, then you should be on the LinkedIn. Everybody else is on the LinkedIn already. So these two ports of call are probably first, and probably 90% of the time, the only ones that you should use. Also, ask friends, and for referrals, that would be the third one.
Well, actually, I think in these days it's not that hard, because there's such a lot of events happening all across the Europe. There are startup weekends and boot camps or whatever, and usually it's a really small amount of money. And you can go there, participate, eventually win, or you don't have to. But the thing is, you can get access to judges, and usually they are really willing to help one place in there. And they can put you one step further where you need to be. It's not that really hard. It's just, you need to pay the ticket and use a bus and go.
Well, maybe it's not hard for you, but I think it is hard. If you're a developer working in a company and you have an idea, it's hard to say, okay, what do I do next? How do I find a co-founder to work with me? Or how do I find employees? Or how do I find capital? It's hard, but if you do some simple things, then it can work. So as Lucas suggested, go to events. Go to tech conferences, talk to other founders of small companies, tell them about your idea. Don't be afraid to talk about your idea with other people. They're not going to steal it. They're too busy doing their own thing. They're not going to steal your idea. They're more likely to help you. They can't help you if they don't know what you're doing or what you need. So go to events, talk to other startups, get on LinkedIn, talk to friends who might know one of these investors so that they can introduce you to them. Find other people who are doing startups. Just do as much as you can networking. I know it's hard sometimes when you're an engineer and you'd rather just code. You'd rather not go to parties and listen to people talk. But it's an important part of starting a company and getting other people involved, getting the press involved, and finding money. So,
can I refine my last statement?
Yes.
Okay, it's hard. It's really hard, but it's possible. That's the thing. It's not impossible.
It is not hard. You just have to begin.
Yeah, pick up the phone and...
No, it is not hard. You just have to make a decision that you change something in your life. And you start. That is the most important thing. You have to start. You have to start working on your project. You have to start making your contacts, etc., etc. You have to start. At the beginning, my opinion, my experience, you don't need money. You just need to invest your time or to find your friend, programmer, developer who will help you. And at the beginning, you don't need money. Just invest your time. And don't be too focused on raising capital. It took pretty long to raise capital. It's very difficult, and it's quite expensive.
You make a very good point. Invest your own time. I've seen developers come up and say, I have a great idea, and I have a business plan and a great idea, but I'm not going to quit my job where I'm working until I get money.
Good luck to them.
And I tell them, it's not going to happen. It will not happen. You have to quit your job and start putting 100% of your time into this and show some traction. And here's the reason. Why would a venture capital investor give you money if you don't even believe in it enough yourself to quit your job and go start it? If you don't believe in it enough to go do that and to take that risk, why should the investor take the risk? Is that right?
Commitment, commitment, and commitment.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to be committed.
It's like real estate, location, location, and location.
Okay. Any other questions? Oh, there's one over there, right over there. While the mic is going over there, I'll ask another question. How much money do you normally invest? First money in. Like, what size check do you write?
Anything between, say, 5 million Czech crowns to about, say, 100,000 euros. That's the easiest. Might be bigger if it's needed, but I feel comfortable up to, say, 200,000 euros. Plus, there's a couple of friends that can put up again, a couple of 200 euros.
But as a VC or as an
Sort
angel?
of friends, angels.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's you and a couple other people?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's about right. 200,000 euros, that's about the way angels work in the US too, about that size. So question over here, where is it? Right there.
So you just said
Turn on.
I don't
Turn
think
it
it works.
You're on now.
now it works. So you just said that I should quit my job, and if I have a wonderful idea, then I want to somehow like make a life. But the question is, most of projects I cannot finish on my own. I need other people to work with me. And do you think it's, or are there some tricks how to persuade the other people to just quit their jobs too and start working with me? I think this is the most hard part. I mean, maybe I personally believe it, but it's hard to come to your friends and you are, quit your job and start working with me because it's a wonderful idea.
If I can react to it, unless you have a charisma and leadership skills, don't quit your job. One of my first questions whenever I see a team that wants to get funding, I ask them, are you ready for the next 6 months, drink water from the river and grass? If not, stay with the job, eat your steaks and get your salary. Part of the success is that you need to work hard and there is a risk and you need to lead the people. If you don't know how to motivate and lead the people, you are not an entrepreneur, stay at your job.
Okay, so you think So you think the main thing is like to know how to motivate the people to just being able to do...
Yeah, it's called charisma.
Okay. Thanks.
Where to buy it?
That's true. When we talked about team being the most important thing before you make an investment, team means that you were able to convince other people to stop what they're doing and join you in your crusade to build a company. So that's part of the leadership that you're looking for when you make an investment. You say, this guy is so good that he got 2 other people to quit their jobs and to go do this. That means there's commitment there, leadership. He knows how to do things. Sure, the product is not done. It's just started, but that's okay because they can see the leadership and experience by convincing other people to join them.
Believe it or not, even the investor follows your charisma. So if you don't have it, stick with your job. Sorry.
So what kinds of companies what are the last 2 or 3 companies that you've invested in?
At the moment, for instance, one of my favorites is an IT security company that's doing data monitoring and leakage prevention from within the business. In general, I'm fairly bullish on the IT security because one of the things where this part of the world has got some competitive advantage and some knowledge. I'm also looking at open source companies and some SAS models. Otherwise, I'm sort of shy of the general trends. Social networks, everybody does it. Social marketing, everybody does it. Groupons, everybody does it. And the moment everybody does it, it's extremely difficult to pick the winners.
Mm-hmm. How about you?
At the moment, we are very focused on projects that are bringing small business from offline to online, as we say. And we are very focused on local businesses, and we want to help, for instance, restaurants to be fully online. I mean, if you want to make a reservation, then the current state is that someone make a note in some big book, and we want to make change in people thinkings. So we want to bring all these small businesses from these offline structures to online structures. So we are very focused on these products and projects on internet.
Lucas, what are you seeing in your incubator? What kinds of interesting things?
Well, that's interesting because we have basically everything. We have from the social networks through the pure tech companies and to the offline.
What's
Even
the
offline?
hottest at the moment?
It's hard to say, but I think they're all of them are on a good track. But you know what? It depends of what you're asking for. If you're asking for the most expensive company, which one is going to be the most expensive? There's probably one which is called Brand Embassy. I don't know if anyone knows them. Probably not. They're tapping into really interesting market when they're talking to, basically they're developing your brand on the internet. You know, when the people are talking about your products, they're providing ambassadors, so official ambassadors for a brand. They're talking about you better. They're starting to be spread it all across the Europe. I think they're heading really good direction. But I mean, it's not bad if the others won't make it to a global market. It's just really cool if they have a really cool product, and they can be successful entrepreneurs in the terms they can employ a few more people, even though they stay in a local market, because eventually they can you know, leave the job and start again and do something better with the experience they gathered from a previous company. So yeah, we have a pretty amazing portfolio.
So when you think about the last companies you've invested in, the companies that are in your accelerators, tell me about the teams. Were they direct from the university? Were they coming out of, had they done a startup before? Was this their first startup? What kinds of teams are you seeing experience?
Well, it's a personal thing for me, so I usually invest into young guys that are onto their first or second business. In terms of negative choice, what I don't like is the corporate types. I spent 10 years developing software for T-Mobile, and now I want to start my own business. I would much rather bet on the young guys that want to make the dent in the world at the beginning than the experience, because my thinking is that experience is sometimes good because you save the money. However, it also makes you resistant to think anew.
So you think younger people who are fresh out of university or worked in a startup,
yeah, fresh thinking,
are better?
These people usually tend to also work harder. So if you have a 35-year-old entrepreneur, then he doesn't work the required 18 hours a day, 6 days a week. So I usually test them by calling on Saturday.
I had a meeting with Michal 3-4 years ago.
Ages ago.
And his first question was, "Are you married?"
Yes,
and
that's another thing.
I said, "Yes, I am." "Do you have children?" "Yes, 2." And everything was wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, the family is usually one of the major drags on the business career, because if you are a responsible father, obviously you need to spend the time with your children, unless you have a loving wife that does it all for you.
And that was an example why many VCs are wrong.
That's interesting. My experience has been that first-time entrepreneurs need to be very young.
Yep.
So first-time entrepreneurs, it's first out of college or first, second job kind of thing, working for a startup. Experienced entrepreneurs, people who have done 2 companies or 3 companies, they can be older. So if you've done 2 or 3 companies and you're married and you have 2 kids and
you have to have the loving wife. That's the thing. So perhaps Vitek has got a loving wife. I haven't asked about his wife that deep.
But it's okay if you started a couple of companies and you have that experience and you're 35 years old and married and have 2 kids. That's okay. But if not, then it makes it very hard.
What is very important from my point of view, you have to fail many times. Not in the marriage, of course.
Yeah.
But from these fails, you get experiences. You would be very lucky if you start your first business and it would be successful.
Right. I was in Poznan 2 days ago and did a speech on failure and why failure is important, and it's an important ingredient to success. Because you don't learn anything from success. You learn from failure. And in Silicon Valley, we don't use the word failure. We call it experience. Really, we do. That experience is important. And if you haven't failed before, then you're not ready to start a company because it's very hard and you don't know what to expect. So failure is actually the experience you need to start a great company.
Or you need to be a genius. Genius is a bit easier.
Yeah. Geniuses don't happen very often. Any other questions? Oh, there's one here. Where's the microphone? It's coming.
Hello. Do you have any experience with some company which already started, for example, some portal or site which is provided by free, and now they wanted to change it? Will it be successful, or it's high percentage of unsuccess?
So going from free to
paid
subscription.
Yes, to
yeah.
Difficult. Once people start to like things for free, it's extremely difficult to charge them for it. So it's much better to offer discounts at the beginning and then have freemium model. But in general, if you want to do something for free, then all of a sudden you say, hey, I'll charge you for it. 99.9% of the people will run away and won't be willing to pay. So in terms of my own experience, if someone tells me, you want to do it for free, I ask them, where's the money? And unless they give me clear answer, and I say there is no money.
Well, in fact, that's our story. Our product was completely free at the beginning. And in 2008, when we launched it, we thought that our revenue stream will come from ads. It will never happen, of course. So we had to think about, as Michael said, freemium business model. It means that we charge for premium services. WebNote is a free website builder. You can use it for free, no problems. But when you want some extra features, you have to pay. And we launched these premium services after half a year. And it was no problem, because it wasn't negative. We didn't switch all our users to premium users. We just added some new values, some new features, and our users were willing to pay, no problems.
Yeah, so that's the freemium model. It's free for most users and premium for the users who want those extra services. The conversion from free to paid is usually somewhere between 3% to 5%. So you need to build your business model to accept that you'll have 95 to 97% free users, and 3 to 5% will pay you money, and it has to work.
Even the free users is misleading because you pay for the hosting and software downloads and everything else. So it's
marketing
free for
cost.
them, but cost for you.
But LinkedIn is an example. Michael mentioned that earlier. LinkedIn is a freemium service. So it's free to use until you want to do something bigger, then you pay money. Zynga games are usually free, and then you pay for virtual goods or something like that. If you try to go 100% from free to paid, guaranteed to fail. It will not work. Okay, other questions? Okay, I'm going to ask another one. Spin-outs from big companies. Are you seeing much of that where a company either develops a technology and then says, no, this really doesn't work, we're going to spin it out, or the people who did the research in the company leave the big company and start a startup? Do you see much of that?
Not really, from my experience, couple of things, but it's definitely not a trend as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm. How about the reverse? Startup or small companies being acquired by big companies. Are you seeing that a lot, or how do exits happen?
Again, from my standpoint, it's slightly personal thing. Whenever I'm investing into a company, I need to like the guys. I need to like them enough to be almost like a founder. So for me, when you talk exit, it's sort of cold-blooded decision. At the same time, if the company is doing great and everything is growing, I'm not going to push them for exit. So, you know, trade sale is option B. Option A is everything goes well, let's make money.
How about you? Have you had exits, or how did you?
Yeah, I did one exit on Warsaw Stock Exchange when I sold my equity. It was quite good, actually. Yeah, 3 times money in about 9 months. But for me, exit is a sort of, you know, as I said, we have to like the guys enough to stay with the business with them. And if the money is good, then we would sell. If the money is not good, let's not sell it. Let's build the business. It's for the joy. You know, you need to do it for fun.
Yeah.
For me, the exit was very, very important at the beginning. Then there were 4 years of great business development with great people, and I realized that the exit is not something I want to do. I want in my life. I want to do something that I like. I want to go to work with people that I like, that we have the same focus, and that's my life philosophy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to exit my company for 100 million euro, because I think I will not be 100 million euro happier. That's all.
Good point.
If you would see the money in front of you, I mean, it's difficult. It's quite a huge pile of money.
It's a lot of money.
For me, it's basically the same. I mean, I wouldn't start a company to just... and I see people who starting a company and they clearly aiming for an exit. But it might be for a better purpose. Yep. They might have a different idea. They might have go for example, social entrepreneurship or something. Mm-hmm. And they want to build something, make money, and do the stuff they love.
You know, I would probably concur with Vít, because for me the important thing is these people need to live the business. And if you build a business just to sell it, there's a sort of element where you say, okay, fine, these guys are probably not serious. If they are willing to flip it at the first opportune moment, okay, where's the fun in it? And, you know, with the difference of the money, there's not that much fun. So, you know, sort of.
Well, the question is if you want to change the world, like Steve Jobs,
right?
Or if you want to sell your company.
Yeah.
So, explain the difference between a lifestyle business and a high-impact VC fundable business.
I would probably say more family business versus corporations.
Okay.
The entrepreneurs build corporations and they want to make the difference. Lifestyle businesses, you know, you get your Mercedes, you get your house, you get your yacht. These people have it as a, you know, funding for their life. They probably earn 3 times more than they would earn somewhere else. It's nice family business. For me, boring, predictably boring, and not really exciting. That would be my key difference, is corporation versus, or empire builders versus lifestyle companies.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've seen people, they come to me and they say, hey, I have this great business, it's profitable, I'm making a lot of money, I want to take venture capital and make it bigger. Most times, VCs will not make that investment because it doesn't have enough potential to go to 100 million euros or whatever. It's always going to be maybe 10 million or less. So those businesses don't get venture capital.
You don't get the thrill of building the empire. Very simple. It's so-called mini empire. But the thrill of building something is not there.
Any question over here and over here?
Hello, I would like to ask you, throughout the talk you demonstrated that you are pretty successful, but you for sure had a failure. Can you describe your worst and bitter failure you had in your career and how you dealt with that and what you lost? Thanks.
So any failures you want to talk
I'm
about?
losing money all the time. It's part of the business. The success rate is usually 10, 20, maximum 30%. So let's call it experience, and it does happen quite often. But that's part of the business. If you would be making only successful investments, then you would live in a different world. So that's part of the thing. You have to write off your investments. And
How many people here know Angry Birds? Right? Angry Birds, you seen that? Yes, it's a very successful game. Do you know that was the 52nd game that they built? Does anyone know the name of any of the first 51 games that they built? No, you don't. They failed 51 times before they got Angry Birds. So, it happens all the time. Let me ask you, have you invested in companies where the founders have failed before?
For me, it's one of the most important things. And then my question then is, what have you learned? You have two kinds of failures. One is going to repeat the same mistakes, and then you have the other one, which is, I learned this, I won't repeat the same mistake. And I'm afraid I see quite a lot of people that are bent on repeating the same mistakes. So if I see this, then I'm not interested. If I see that they are willing to learn, I'm still listening. But quite a lot of people just do the same mistakes over and over again.
Okay, there's a question here in the front.
Hello. How much equity do you have to give up to an investor on each stage of funding?
Good question.
And my answer is, doesn't really matter. If you want to make the business successful, you should treat your equity as expensive and give away as less as you can. However, if you want to be successful and there is a fit with the investor, you should probably be generous. So it very much depends on the opportunity, type of the guy you are dealing with or fund you are dealing with. In general, my thinking is that the founder should have a majority, should never go into minority, because that's actually not motivating him enough. Otherwise, anything between 1% to 49% is open for discussion from my standpoint.
That's a good general answer. The specific answer is, I've seen hundreds and hundreds of companies funded, and they typically, you give up 25% to 33% of the company in the first round. So for example, if you're raising $1 million, they will give you a $3 million valuation. So they've got 25% of the company. So that's pretty typical. It's 25% to 33%. Then when you go to the next round, hopefully the value of the company has gone from 3 million to 10 million, so you can sell another 1/3 again, and it doesn't dilute you as badly. So if the valuation continues to go up, you can sell 25 to 30% of the company every time, and you're still in good shape. So that's typically how it
that's
works.
quite an interesting point. Yes, the average of all averages would be 25%, because you are still majority owner and the investor sort of feels happy being significant minority.
Right. And most investors want the founders to be majority shareholders or be very incented. Most investors will require that you give 15% of the company to employees, or not give it to them, but set aside 15% for stock options to give to employees. That's the way it works in the US. I don't know if it works that way.
10%, 5% here. We are slightly more scrutiny.
5%?
Yeah, 5 to 10.
Oh,
Equity
okay.
is expensive. Let's save it for,
I've seen it as high as 20%, where
Too
the
generous,
investors say, you set aside 20% of your company to give to employees, because if this is going to be successful, you have to attract a lot of really great people, so you need to have that equity, and we're willing to give it up in order to get the great people. So a little different here. Any other questions? No? I'm going to keep asking questions then. Oh, we're almost done. Wow. Failure, we already asked that. In the US, the hot areas are social, local, mobile, games. Those are the 4 big areas. What are the hot areas here? Are those things hot here or not so much?
I'm myself very hesitant to invest into hot trends, because if you are hot in States, you have a large captive home market, and you have even larger market outside of the boundaries, English-speaking countries. Here, it's more about finding your niche and sticking to it and be good in what you do. So, for me, investment themes or investment thoughts are important to know what's happening, but unless I see really, really hell-bent team that wants to make it globally in the next 6 months, then they are very likely to fail. So for me, it's about finding the niche and being #1 in that niche rather than surfing the general trend.
So if anyone out there knows of a company that's doing a mobile game that has social aspects and takes advantage of location, come see me, because I want to invest in that company.
Don't come and don't see me, so don't see a guy.
Last question over here. Where's the mic? No? Okay, I think we're done. So thank you very much, and please thank my panel for being here.
Thanks.